All right, let's talk about the Giants. Okay. As I mentioned, I was only able to watch the first half of this preseason game against the Lions. I was thoroughly impressed with the defense. In the first few series, you had Jason Pinnock picking off the first attempted pass. Dane Belton with interception. Jason Pinnock, I think, a sack or a tackle for loss, a pass breakup. Jason Pinnock is our starting safety. But it's also very comforting to know that Dane Belton, I don't know what happened last year. I don't know why how he got in the doghouse, but I'm hoping he's corrected that because it seems like he's a baller and a player, a guy that can make plays. So it would be great if Pinnock is a starter. Man, Belton's a nice insurance layer to have. It stunk that the offense could not capitalize. We didn't have a lot of the starting offensive linemen other than John Michael Schmitz, I believe, and Josh Zudu. Zudo didn't have the best grades from PFF, and I don't know that John Michael Schmitz did either, but I thought he played really well, and I got some pretty good feedback and reception from his play. I didn't think Tyrod Taylor did anything that special. I think he is at the point where he's like, I'm the veteran. You've seen what I can do. Deal with it. Tommy DeVito looked more impressive, but again, that's like a rookie who's trying to make his, put his stamp on his tenure with the team. So I think he threw the ball well. Cole Beasley looked good. I forget how old Cole Beasley is. I think he's in his early 30s, possibly approaching mid 30s. It's nice to see him in a Giants uniform doing that kind of shit and not having to see him do it as a Cowboy, because that was frustrating, him taking a pass underneath and just like turning it into a first down every time. And Deonte Banks looked pretty solid, and it doesn't look like he's had that big of an ego making good plays. He basically ran a route for a receiver, because he like basically saw what the receiver was running and ran it for him, and then came up and made a great tackle on a tight end. Deep pass to, I think, a rookie wide receiver for the Lions, maybe second year guy. Receiver extends his hands. He's able to wait until the ball touches the receiver's hands and then strip and rip the receiver's arms to force an incompletion. So it seems like we got we got a starting corner who's not going to be bad. It's not a DeAndre Baker situation. Please God, I hope it's not a DeAndre Baker situation. And also Trey Hawkins. Like, it's coming out now that Wink is completely comfortable with starting Trey Hawkins on the outside, Banks on the other side, two rookie starting cornerbacks, which I think the last time that happened was maybe 2001 with Will Allen and Will other guy. What the hell was his name? Will Allen and Will Smith. It bothers me to no end that I can't remember. Sentenced to 4 years for a Ponzi scheme. Cool. Oh my God. Will Allen and Will Peterson. Oh, geez, God. Wow. So I don't think that's going to be the same situation as 2001, because that was frustrating as fuck coming off a Super Bowl appearance in 2000. And I guess this is kind of surprising. We all thought that Darrian Beavers had the beat on the starting inside linebacker position opposite Bobby Okereke, and now it looks like it's going to be Micah McFadden. Micah McFadden, I don't know that I was that. He's gotten a lot of praise. I think he's underrated, and I think he's a great underdog story. But from everything that I've seen and heard, it just seems like the guy's got a motor and just plays well. I don't think he's going to do anything that jumps off the tape, but just solid, consistent. But I still think we'll have to see how it plays out, because it would have been nice to see how Darrian Beavers played without this injury, because I think the ACL injury, especially with a linebacker, is just fucking. We all saw what happened with Ryan Connolly. It can just like ruin your end of your career. And Blake Martinez. I think this is from GMenHQ, fan-sided, whatever. 4 New York Giants who disappeared during training camp. Their list is Isaiah Hodgins, which I kind of understand. I don't know if it's disappeared. It's just like, I haven't heard much about. I think a lot of the focus so far out of training camp has been on Darren Waller, how good he looks, and Jalen Hyatt, how good he looks. We haven't heard a whole lot from Hodgins, but I think that's a good thing. I think he's going to be, we've heard a lot about Slayton, and I think this is a good thing that Hodgins is kind of flying under the radar, because he's a potential 1,000-yard receiver. Slayton is a potential 1,000-yard receiver. So I think that's fine. I'm fine with under the radar, Next one up was pass rusher Azeez Ojulari. I think a lot of people are talking about how Kayvon's going to take a big step in year 2. But we have not seen or heard much from Ojulari, even though, and I think Carl Banks tweeted this, you look at like his performance when he's on the field, if you were to extrapolate, full 16, 17 game season, those are like incredible numbers. So when he does play and he's healthy on the field, he's a performer. He produces. It's just he can't stay on the field. Third up was cornerback Cor'Dale Flott, who I agree. I think he became unstrong towards the end of the last season, as we mentioned. Played well in the playoff game, had that huge pass breakup on that final drive when it was thrown to Jefferson. But yeah, now it's looking like Adoree Jackson's going to be the starting slot. Trey Hawkins is the starting CB2, Deonte Banks CB1. And now where does he fall into the mix? We're not too sure. And then guard, Mark Glowinski. It's kind of looking like Ben Brutterson is going to start over Glowinski at right guard, and then you have Azudu starting at left guard. That's kind of the indication I'm getting right now, which I don't know. I mean, Azudu and Brutterson's split time last year did they both take a major step forward in year 2? I don't know. But yeah, Glowinski's kind of going down as kind of a bust free agent signing for Joe Schoen. Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence were named to the Athletics 25 under 25 list, which is great to see. So glad that we locked them both up. I think that's huge and sends a signal to the rest of the team that the organization is invested in the future. Something that we have not seen over the past, fucking decade. Daniel Jones rejected the offer to be on Netflix's quarterback, which makes sense. Knowing what I know about the Giants, knowing what I know about Daniel Jones, like the Giants, I don't know if we'll ever see them on Hard Knocks, even though I think there are certain rules and stipulations that indicate they might be forced to be on Hard Knocks at some point. I don't know. The rules on that are very weird, but yeah, I can very easily see why he rejected that offer. And I can very easily see why Netflix, Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions and Patrick Mahomes, his production company, why they were so interested in that. Because it's like, it was like the second or third make or break year for Daniel Jones. But it did feel like the final one, especially after he wasn't extended for a 5th year. It was like, okay, this is it. And so that's where the drama comes in. So yeah, that makes sense why they were after him. And it would have been interesting. I don't know if it would have been more interesting than what we got with Mahomes, Cousins, and Mariota, other than the fact that Jones, I don't believe, is married and doesn't have kids. So it's like you have the married expecting second kid, married expecting 2 kids, married kid, single dude who's a fucking flip cup champion. And then finally, last 2 items I have here. There was a draft day trade in place for the Giants to move up where the Bills were and acquire Dalton Kincaid, tight end that the Bills ultimately drafted. And I mean, it would have been interesting, I think. I'm glad with what we came away with, though. I think I much prefer, and I could be eating fucking crow and feet and all the other words after the season, because he could be the next friggin' Travis Kelce. But Shane ended up telling the Bills GM, no, if someone takes our guy, we'll trade with you. And then he saw that Deonte Banks was available and ended up trading up to get Deonte Banks. And I gotta say, can you imagine if we didn't have Deonte Banks right now? I don't know how I'd feel about this season. So no, I'm completely fine with not having Dalton Kincaid. That said, watch Dalton Kincaid become the next Tony Gonzalez. Yikes. Or Anthony Gates. And then finally, the Giants signed offensive tackle Julie'n Davenport. So that was a major knock on the first, the major come away from the first preseason game against the Lions was like our depth, offensive line depth, is pretty putrid. And we probably need to work on that. And this is probably a result of that. Davenport is I believe he was a former 4th round pick of the Texans back in 2017. He's 28 years old. He was traded to the Dolphins as part of the Laramie Tunsil deal back in 2019. fucking irony, considering that the Giants were probably in the running for Laramie Tunsil before the whole gas mask pot video. So stupid. But Davenport played out the final year of his 4-year contract before signing with the Colts in 2021. After finishing his contract with the Colts, he signed a 1-year deal with the Bears last April, was cut during camp. He eventually caught on with the Cardinals practice squad later in the season. So, not the cure-all for our woes and our ails, but certainly maybe a better option than what we got going on. I think Corey Cunningham struggled. I don't know that Tyree Phillips played a lot, but I think he came in last year and did a fine job, Tyree Phillips. So, yeah. And I know Shane Lemieux actually had a decent Pro Football Focus grade from this first preseason game. So he's trying to save his arse and stay on the roster. Who knows how maybe he turns it around if he's not, injured or banged up. So that's the episode. Hopefully I can get to Twisted Metal, Hijack, River Wild, and Don't Worry Darling maybe this weekend or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I got a busy weekend. I got on the Top Golf on Saturday. I might have a brunch type thing going on in Philly on Sunday. Maybe I can do it on a Friday night. I don't know. Let's get spicy. So with that, I want to express gratitude. Gratitude. I know, speaking of Strange Planet, that show I started, they don't say thank you. They say gratitude. So gratitude for you, for your ears, your eyes, your mind, your soul. And we'll talk to you soon. Adios, muchachos.